My name is Sabine Kahwaji. I am a director and writer, and I will be breaking down a short film called Alitisal. So in this scene, they're two brothers. One of the brothers hasn't been home for a long period of time. The one in the blue is the older brother, and then the one in the gray shirt is the younger brother.
دخلك وين ماما بتطب لي فناجين؟ شي بماية فعم ضلهم يعيدوا هالانفجار. حالي مش منيحة جورج.
Going into this, these two actors are actually first-time actors. So as a director, it's really important to understand how to speak with actors and understand their language. I ended up auditing acting classes and actually taking acting classes to be able to communicate with them. As directors, we're going in already knowing who our characters are, what we want from them. Whereas going up to an actor and saying, I need you to be more sad, it doesn't give them enough room or material to really exercise like what is the exact emotion that you want out of the scene.
شو مزعوج مني خيي؟
مزعوج لأنه بعرف أنت اللي قلت لهم يروحوا وسام. مني حمار.
أكيد قلت لهم، ماني مخبى شي. كانوا عايزين يغيروا جو. بتقلي هلا عم تحط حق علي.
I told the actors if you're starting your energy level at 100, you're only leaving so much room for us to then build on the anger, the intensity of the scene. I think personally it's better to over-communicate than to under-communicate and expect them to read your mind and know exactly what emotion you want out of the characters.
كاتك أنضج من هيك يا جورج. كنت عم شجعهم يعملوا شي كرمالهم هن.
ما عايز يروحوا هلا كان فيهم ينطروا شوية.
شو عم تحكي؟ يلي صار من ورا إهمال.
ما همي بالإهمال.
ما خصني أنا.
همي بأهلي. لما أنت بدك.
طب أنا شو جورج؟ ها؟ مش باقينا الخبرية، هالبيت فيه يتهدم بهاللحظة، مين مكلوم؟ كبر راسك، بتضلك بدك تمشكلها، بس مش وقتك اليوم.
So it's really important to have rehearsals with the actors, especially in indie film. You don't have an on-set acting coach. You also don't necessarily have the budget to have like 100 days on set. We had about 3 days and we had 3 weeks to prep. Recording rehearsals, very important, because then you can go back with the actors and say, hey, you see how you did this here? We need to improve this more, or let's not lean into this. When it came to the shot list, so I worked with a really talented DP, Austin Kwok. The master shot, I wanted the audience to feel like we're peeking in on this really intimate moment, this really intense moment between two brothers. I'm huge on always having something in the foreground. We shot everything from this one master shot here, this like medium wide, and then we went into close-up tracking shots. So we had the camera, which was an ARRI Alexa Mini. We had it on a Steadicam, and then the DP followed Mark for his lines, and then we switched and then followed Ahmad for his lines. So we were able to have 3 different angles that cut really smoothly in post, and then always leave room for some B-roll. So we had a shot of him making the coffee there. I think with different DPs, everyone has their own sort of process, but so far the DPs I've worked with, I essentially make the first draft of the shot list and then I send it over to the DP. Then they go over and let me know, is this feasible, or maybe here we can make it better. Prepare as much as you can before, because it's not always the case where you have the resources to have a ton of time and to have their own trailer where you can go over stuff. When I was writing this scene, a big part of what it was about was to visibly show this power dynamic between the older brother trying to come off as like the parent and the younger brother who's really frustrated with that dynamic. George here is not saying much because his grieving process is sort of avoiding a situation. George ignores Wissam. George still doesn't respond. George dismisses him. So it's like line and line again that's building this tension between the two, and that's when the actor reading this took it more, and what I talked to him about is it's about physical acting. Sometimes as writers, I think we feel like we need to put a lot of dialogue in to evoke a certain emotion. Like here, I could have easily made George yell at his brother and say, I hate you, you don't know what's going on, this, that. But instead, I took more of that silent route where just with one look, the audience is able to understand exactly what he's trying to say. Don't worry about how people are going to perceive your writing. When I first started writing, I felt like there was always a wall between me and the paper because I would be so fixated on, oh, are people gonna think this about me? Or is someone gonna think that this is about them? Or how I was going to be perceived. The second I stopped caring, I broke that border down. I said, I'm just gonna write what I wanna write and how I feel. The scripts became so much more authentic, and that's actually when certain scripts got picked up. This scene, this script, I honestly didn't filter at all. And I'm sure there's gonna be people who watch it that are like, hey, is this film about me? Which, oops. So there are times when you're shooting films where in an ensemble piece, let's say one of the actors, we're tight on time, we only have like 5 minutes, we gotta nail the shot, but one of the actors is just not getting to the point that they need to get to, or to that emotional level that we need them to get to. We had a similar situation on set where one of the actors was just honestly being really hard on themselves, and we just weren't reaching that emotional level that we wanted to be at. So I actually took them to a different room where there was no one, and I sort of sat with them and heard them out. You can tell as a director when an actor struggles to separate where they're at as a actor versus their character. What I did in this case was, because it was an ensemble cast, I pulled aside one of the actors who I was seeing was able to get to that level. And I pulled him aside and I said, you're the savior of this scene. Like, I can see that you're able to get to this, and I need you to be able to leverage this and bring together the other two so we can have the strong performance that we need. And it does sound like it puts a lot of pressure. However, because I had worked with him so much, it was really easy to tell like where he was at. And so we actually ended up, even in terms of camera, focusing on him more. And that was the way that we sort of salvaged one of the actors who just wasn't able to get there. What I would advise to upcoming filmmakers, writers, whatever it may be, the industry comes with a lot of rejection, tons, and this film was actually rejected by, I want to say 95%, if not 100% of support that we were trying to get. But we believed so much in the story and so much in the message that there was nothing that was going to stop us from making it happen. So if you really believe in a story and you really believe that it's something that will resonate with so many people, don't worry about whether or not it's going to succeed. Just focus, find the right people to work with you that believe in it, and you'll make it happen. You don't always need to, rely on external resources. With the right team, you'll make a great film.
That's good.
Good, thank you. I love how I end up going over time. I love it.